Hello students, now we will see what is a superlative wear. See here from the cross section itself you can see it has a shape of trapezoidal wear, and it is sort of a trapezoidal wear, but there is a condition. Superlative wear is having the side slope of 1 horizontal to 4 vertical. So this is the condition to satisfy whether the wear is superlative wear or not. Okay, so this is the condition to be satisfied for a wear to become a superlative wear. See what is the purpose of superlative wear is that to reduce the effective end contraction of a rectangular wear, which means that suppose this wear was a rectangular wear. Okay, what happens in a rectangular wear? Due to the end contraction, there will be reduction in the discharge. Okay, there will be reduction in the discharge through this particular rectangular wear. This is the cross section of the rectangular wear. So what I am doing is that to compensate that reduction, I am just opening up. Or giving a side slope for the for this rectangular wear like this. So it becomes a sort of trapezoidal wear, so that the discharge reduction in the discharge due to the end contraction is compensated by this particular opening, which is a triangular wear. Okay, so what is the condition? The reduction in discharge due to the end contraction should be compensated with the help of a triangular wear, which I have given with the help of a side slope for the rectangular wear. So how to find out the equation for the superlative wear? So you know that with the end contraction for the rectangular wear, the equation is like this, isn't it? See, this is the expanded version of that equation. The equation will be 2 by 3 CD, 2 by 3 CD L minus 0.2 H will be here, 0.2 H into root of 2G H raised to 3 by 2. That is the equation. So I have expanded those two. The L minus 0.2 H term, I have taken all the things inside and I have written in as two terms. So this is the main discharge portion minus this is due to the end contraction. This is due to the end contraction, that is 2 by 15 CD root of 2G H raised to 5 by 2. So that is minus 0.2 H term is included in this one. Okay, I hope that is clear. And this reduction in the discharge has to be compensated with the help of a triangular wear, which I have provided with the help of a side slope. Okay, so to find out what is the theta angle I should maintain to compensate the discharge, what I should do, I can equate the reduction happen, the discharge in the reduction happen with the discharge occurring if I give a triangular notch, triangular wear. So this is equated with the 8 by 15 CD root of 2G H raised to 5 by 2 tan theta by 2. This, you know, it is the equation for the triangular wear. So I am equating these two, and to find out the theta angle, how much theta angle I should maintain so that it will give a full discharge for that rectangular wear. Okay, so so from this theta angle I will get as 14 degree 2 inch. Okay, 14 degree 2 minutes I will get the value, and that is corresponding side slope is 1 horizontal to 4 vertical, that is 1 by 4. Tan theta by 2 should be maintained as 1 by 4. Theta angle I have get as 14 degree 2 minutes. Okay, so corresponding value is this one only, 1 horizontal to 4 vertical. Okay, so here you don't have to, for the superlative wear, you don't have to now consider what the end contraction term here. Directly you can take the equation for the rectangular wear, that is 2 by 3 CDL into root of 2G H raised to 3 by 2. Okay, so if there is a velocity approach, you have to consider the head of velocity of approach, that is H plus HA raised to 3 by 2 minus HA raised to 3 by 2. I think the concept is clear to you, and we will see one example. Okay, so this superlative wear of crust length 60 centimeter, crust length is given, L is given here, and discharges water, the head of water over the wear is 360 millimeters. find the discharge over the weir if the channel is 50 centimeter wide and 80 centimeter deep. Take CD as 0.6. So it is given as for Sipoleti weir. You know the equation for Sipoleti weir, and we will see how it is done. Okay, so first I have drawn the figure of the given question. So in the Sipoleti weir, crest length is 60 centimeters, height or depth of water in the weir it is 360 mm or 0.36 meters. Okay, so I have marked that in the figure. Now area of cross section of the channel. See, the channel is of dimension 50 centimeter by 80 centimeter deep. So since that is a rectangular channel, I can find out the area of the channel is in it 80 by 80 into 50 will give you in centimeter square. You'll get the area. To find the velocity of approach, why it is given is that you have to consider the velocity of approach. How the velocity of approach is found out? That is VA equal to Q by A. The same type of question we have come across before also, how to find out HA and all. You already know now. And so to find out the velocity of approach, you got the area now. Now you have to find out the Q without considering the head due to velocity of approach. That is 2 by 3 CD L root of 2J H raised to 3 by 2. All the datas are given in the question itself. So you substitute to find out Q. So I have got the Q without considering the velocity of head due to velocity of approach and the area. So Q by area will give you what? Velocity of approach. So once you have got the velocity of approach, you find the head. HA is equal to VA square by 2G. So you will get the answer, this one. Now you substitute that in the equation, that is this one, with considering the velocity of approach. This is our equation. See, in the question itself, you are given the area of or the dimensions of the channel. So by reading this question itself, you have to understand that you have to consider the velocity of approach and all. Okay, then you are substituting in this equation. This is the equation for the Sipoleti weir with considering the velocity of approach. So all the data we have found out or either given, and you substitute in this, find out the answer as 0.2435 meter cube per second. Okay, I think this is clear to you. This concept is clear to you. Next is discharge over a broad crested weir. Okay, so what is a broad crested weir? So it is nothing but a weir with a wide crest. Okay, so the condition is this length. Okay, so my student has written as thickness here. Actually, what she meant was length. See here, this is the length. Length is this particular length. I have taken this as L. So L is greater than 0.5 times capital H. Okay, so she has measured some details here. So the thickness she has meant this one only. So this is the thickness she has taken, and this is 0.5 times H. Okay, so when the thickness is greater than 0.5 times the head, that particular weir is known as broad crested weir. Okay, so we have to find out what is the discharge over the broad crested weir. So that is our question. So in this case, what we'll do is to find out the velocity at this particular portion, we are applying the Bernoulli's equation between these two sections. That is the section here we are taking the section here where it is a still water surface in the upstream portion, and two section is the section with the running water at the end of the weir. Okay, so we are taking 1 and 2 section like this, and we are equating the total energy at both the cross sections, both the sections. Okay, so here applying the Bernoulli's equation, it is P1 by rho g V1 square by 2g plus Z1 equal to P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. So here 1 section. So here at the 1 section, what all heads are there? So P1 by rho g, since it is at the free surface, it will 0. and it is a still water area. So V1 square by 2G, again it is 0. And what is Z1? Z1 is capital H, isn't it? So from a reference line, taking the top portion as the reference line, from the reference line to that particular point, what is the head? That is Z1. Datum head is H. So that is Z1 is H. Baki all two terms are 0. And in the coming to the right hand side, P2 by rho g. What is P2 by rho g? It is again, there is no pressure there, pressure head there. Why? Because all the pressure head is converted to the kinetic head. So this is 0. Pressure head P2 by rho g is 0 plus V2 square by 2g. So this is what we have to find out, plus Z2. Z2 is small h. So from the reference line, it is small h. So I have substituted h here, V square by 2g, this is 0. So this is how the equation comes like this. Okay. So from here, what is V? V is equal to 2g into capital H minus small h. V is equal to root of 2g h capital H minus small h. So this is the equation for velocity. So from the Bernoulli's equation, we found out what is the velocity. So now the discharge equation is very simple. Discharge is equal to area and velocity of flow. Area of flow into velocity of flow. So area of flow is what? So this is the area of flow, isn't it? Velocity is above the broad crested wear. So the area of flow is this one. Okay, so how to find out the area? Suppose this is L. Okay, this is L. Okay, this much length is, let it be L. So L into H will give you, this is somewhat like a rectangular portion. So L into H will give you the area. So area of flow. So the discharge will be CD into L into H, that is the area, into the velocity. Okay, so we got the discharge. Okay, so we got the discharge equation. Okay, so from this equation, H I am taking inside. Okay, I am taking inside. So I got CDL into root of 2G H capital H into H square minus H cube. So I have there is a reason why I have taken inside this small h term. Okay, so this is the equation for the actual discharge. See, now what is the maximum discharge condition? So there is an h term. So I have to find out at what particular small h value I am getting a maximum discharge. So to find out the maximum discharge condition, I am differentiating this term with respect to h. So this h term is the variable. So d by dh of this should be equal to 0 if it is a maximum discharge, isn't it? This is the only term where there is a variable is involved. Okay, so I am differentiating it and it is equated with to 0, so that the maximum it is a condition for the maximum discharge. So while differentiating, I will get the equation like this. Finally, I will get h is equal to 2 by 3 capital H. So when the h is equal to 2 by 3 capital H, I will get the maximum discharge. Okay, so substituting the same value in the equation for the Q actual, I will get the value for the maximum discharge happening. So the Q max, when I substitute in this, when you solve and all the given data, when you solve this 2 by 3h inside this one, you will get the equation like this: Q max equal to 1.705 CD L into H raised to 3 by 2. So this is the equation for the maximum discharge, and this is the equation for the actual discharge. Okay, for a broad crested wear. And here we'll see one example. Find the maximum discharge over a broad crested wear 5 meter long. L is given if the head of the wear on the upstream side is 0.96 meters. So capital H is 0.96 meters. CD is given as 0.62. Neglect the velocity of approach. So it is very simple. Directly substitute in this equation, that is 1.705 CDL into H raised to 3 by 2. So L is given, H is given. Simple substitution, you will get the answer. So if a velocity of approach was involved, what is the difference? Here there is an HA term will be there, that is H plus HA raised to 3 by 2 minus HA raised to 3 by 2 term will also be there. That is the only difference. I hope this concept is clear to you. And for the narrow crested wear, so there is a if there is a term known as broad crested ware, there will be also a term known as narrow crested ware. Narrow crested ware is having the same discharge as that of a normal rectangular ware. So now we will see discharge over a submerged or a drowned ware. Okay, so what is a submerged ware? Here in the figure you can see that full ware, the whole ware is fully submerged inside the water, both in the upstream and downstream side. So this is known as a submerged ware. And to find out the discharge for the submerged ware, first you have to find out the discharge Q1 and then Q2, then sum these two. Okay, what is Q1? Q1 is the discharge happening due to the H minus H, capital H minus small h head, and Q2 is the discharge happening due to the small h head. Okay, so these two, Q1 and Q2, you have to find out. For that, you have to sum the discharge of a normal rectangular ware. See, this seems just like a normal rectangular ware. So here H minus H should be taken as the head, and you have to substitute in the equation for a rectangular ware, normal rectangular ware. And small h, it is this is just like a case of if you only consider this portion, it is only just like a broad crested ware. So you substitute the small h in the equation for the broad crested ware. So sum, after finding out Q1 and Q2, sum both to find out the total discharge. So the equation will be Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Q1 is the discharge of the ware through the free ware portion. Free ware portion, it is same as the taking the same as that of a rectangular ware with the head as capital H minus small h. Q2, it is for the discharge of water. This is through the submerged portion. You are taking it in the case of a drowned orifice, and for ease of understanding this equation, that is why I have just told you to take the same equation as that of the broad crested ware, that is CD2 L into H into root of 2G capital H minus small h value. And this is originally the equation for a discharge through the drowned orifice. Okay, so you are adding these two values, that is for the free ware, discharge to the free ware or the rectangular ware equation, plus the discharge to the submerged portion or the equation for the drowned orifice. Okay, so you are adding these two equations to find out the total discharge through the submerged ware. Okay, so now we will see one example. Here what happens is that here height of the upstream and downstream side of a submerged ware is given as 20. Here it is 20 meters. Okay, 20 meters and 10 meters. Okay, and 3 meter length. So L is given, capital H and small h is given, and CD value for free and the drowned is given. CD1 and CD2 are they are given. Find the discharge. So it is a very direct substitution question. So you just have to simply substitute in the equation. So this is the equation here, 2 by 3. CD1 is 0.6 here into L. L is 3 meter into root of 2G into capital H is 20 minus 10. So this is 10. H minus H becomes 10 raised to 3 by 2 plus CD2 is given 0.8. L is again 3 meters. H is 10 centimeter. Root of 2G into 20 minus 10. Okay, so direct substitution. Finally, you will arrive at the answer like this: 504.257 meter cube per second. So this is the answer. I hope this concept is clear to you. Thank you.